Okay, if you'll excuse me for just a second. Okay, I have to cue the headphones because it does the thing where, excuse me, it talks to me in the background. Okay, now I gotta figure out why that's not coming up. And that's not what I wanted, so we put that back. Nope, don't want that. Huh. For some reason, my banner's not coming up. Alright, let's put this at number one. There. There we go. Now we're getting it. Sometimes I have to play around with this a little bit. So we got 5 viewers and nobody chatting. Well, that's okay. And welcome to the Saturday Murtathon. This is kind of a throw together thing because I had kind of a busy day today, and normally the amount of time that I have for producing the videos kind of got shot. I had to make a special trip, and I got back late, took a nap, got up, had dinner, all that good stuff. And so I'm here. And welcome, Kingfish. Not a whole heck of a lot, really. This has been kind of one of those weeks where, the mainstream news was actually more interesting than what was going on elsewhere. We had an attempted overthrow of the United States government. We got ourselves a new president. QAnon is going absolutely out of their minds. And that's about it, really. So I thought I'd come on the air for a little bit anyway, kind of carry on the tradition of the Saturday Murtathon and see if we can make a go of this. Now, Jiggly Triggly. Hello, my love. Okay, well, welcome to the chat. Kind of dead so far. It takes a while for this thing to heat up a little bit, but we'll make a go of it. Now, I got kind of curious about the way things have been going with QAnon. It's something I didn't entirely expect. All of a sudden, QAnon's having a fit because they didn't get what they wanted. President Trump is no longer president of the United States. There was no storm. Nobody's in Gitmo. Nobody's under arrest. And so they're running around with their chickens with their head cut off, trying to figure out what they're going to come up with an excuse. And the latest nonsense to come out of the peanut gallery, so to speak, is there's something that's going to happen on March 4th that's supposed to straighten all this out. So quite obviously, they've come up with a way to keep the date going. Randy was possibly killed by Randy. Now, that is, they usually call that suicide. But the thing of it is, Jiggly, I'm no longer interested in any of these people. It's literally a dead subject. Your theory is interesting, but I really don't care anymore what's going on with those two. They're irrelevant and immaterial. They're over on their little. Oh, that's okay. I do my share of typos, but the thing of it is it's no longer important. They're off of YouTube. They're off of Twitter. one of her accounts is off of Facebook, so the only thing they've got is her personal Facebook account, uh, that blog that hardly anybody reads, and I guess they're over on some of the other weird uh, platforms. So there's really nothing relevant about them. Um, Now, Field McConnell did get he will be Field McConnell's going to be going back to Plum City uh, to take care of the affairs of his wife and basically stay there until the trial, if it happens. Uh, the next action that will take place will be on the 28th. That is presumably over dropping the charges. Now, I do agree there is a new lawsuit that Greg Sawyer is probably going to file. That's in addition to the one that's already out there. And that's basically the ball's in his court. If he wants to take some kind of legal action against these two, then and some of the others associated with this mess, then he can do that. I knew I should have edited this video. It's something to show in the background. The production tonight was hastily put together. I was going to make a new intro because the other intro I made the mistake of putting a day in there, and so instead of having the intro for Friday night Murtathon, I came up with a new intro, and I didn't have time to edit it properly, so I just kind of threw it up there, and I'm going to work on that. Plum City pages. Well, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but now, when Field goes back to Plum City, he's under the same restrictions he was under in Stewart. He cannot have any contact with anybody other than the man who's acting as his power of attorney, plus his criminal attorney, and minimal visits to get groceries, go to the dentist, any medical care, and so on and so forth. Which is going to be kind of a neat proposition because the Plum City is an extremely small town and there's hardly anything there. So I would think that he's going to have to go to a larger city someplace to get anything done that we would normally do. Oh, I see, Jiggly. Well, Field is very popular in Plum City, so, calling the newspaper probably isn't the best thing that Monty could have done. Monty just basically needs to let it go. Because it's, they're not important. The QAnon movement is falling apart. More and more people are realizing that these two, Tim basically is an absolute fraud, and they're abandoning him. And now that Trump's out of office, there's more important things to talk about. The stimulus package is forthcoming. Everybody's looking forward to their checks and, all this other stuff. No, this is root beer, A&W. I don't drink beer. I can't stand the taste of beer, but I like A&W, so I go with A&W. So I got A&W root beer, and I've also got a strawberry lemonade chaser. Non-alcoholic, just regular stuff. I didn't pour a normal glass of milk tonight. So it's good old A&W root beer. Because it's either A&W or Hires. I normally drink Pepsi, but, I wound up with this stuff, so I'm drinking it. Oh, my goodness. Boy, you must make a lot of money because the stimulus is goes way up. I don't know what the breakdown is of the income limits, and it's a sliding scale. It just doesn't magically cut off. It goes up to a certain amount, and then it gradually goes down according to your gross income. So if you make more and you don't need the money, then you're in better shape than I am by a long shot. Because, being on Social Security, I need every dime I can get my hands on. So, it's good that uh, I might get something out of this. I don't, you know, I'll believe it when I see it because, it's going to take a while for it to go through Congress. They're not too happy with it. We may not get the full 1,400. It's not going to be 2,000, by the way. It's going to be 1,400 to add to the 600 that we already got. And so we'll have a total of, the total will be 2,000. So it'll be $1,400 per person in the household, and then a reduced amount for any children. 78,000. Yeah, that's the problem with California. It's so expensive out there. Hi, Lori. And, I would think that they would have done a sliding scale so that you would have had uh, some money. But, it's just it's unfortunate that I guess they had to set a limit somewhere. But remember, nothing is final yet. They could raise that up, especially if people in your income bracket tell them, hey, look, 17, you know, the salary I make because I live in California doesn't amount to a hill of beans, so I could use a little bit more and see what they decide. Yeah, it would be nice if he would. The more the merrier. Because other countries besides the United States are doing it on a stipend. Canada, I believe, is $2,000 a month. And other countries have it's a monthly stipend instead of just a one-shot pony. Uh, but we have a different political system here, and we got to live with what we got and see what happens. Um, so Bernie can get the 2,000, more power to him. I like that meme that they're putting out with him on it, sitting in the chair with the little mittens. He's making the woman that makes those uh, mittens a lot of money. She's completely sold out because everybody keeps buying them. Everybody wants to buy those things. And so, more power to him. He's helping one lady anyway. Um, so there's, but um, now something else happened that was kind of weird. Early in the week, I got a direct message from somebody that told me that there was a warrant out for the arrest of Cynthia Abzug. It was issued on December 31st. She was the warrant read that she was a fugitive from justice, and um, so there was a felony warrant. I found out about it either on the 20th or shortly after, and so I started calling up to find out what this thing was about. And it turns out that it was a mistake, apparently, that the warrant, there was no warrant. And sure enough, the minute me and other people started calling the sheriff, the warrant disappeared off the internet. So I don't know how or why. And the funny thing about it is the warrant originated in Montana, in the same city she was arrested at before. And since it was December 31st, 2020, this was after the original arrest. So I'm not uh, sure of that. what the video is in there, since I'm being asked. This is from my trip to uh, Minnesota, Wisconsin. This portion here, this is actually the Minnesota part where I was running from East Grand Forks, Minnesota, down to uh, the Minneapolis, St. Paul, Elk River, and Plum City area. I believe this particular uh, video is my run to Plum City. Because I did things kind of weird when I went there. But it's funny. But the one thing that I pointed out in my original monologue, but I didn't put up because the audio was so noisy, is the amount of corn that these people grow up there. All around Minnesota on my drive, I did kind of like a huge circle. There was corn here, corn there, everywhere, corn. It's apparently Minnesota is a big corn producing state. Because it's it's amazing to see all this freaking corn. And, this was in September, mid-September that I went up there, so it was very pretty up there. And the question is asked about Field's cars. Does Field still have his antique cars? And the answer, as best I can tell, is yes. I know for a fact that he still has his two limousines. I don't know if he has the hearse. And I was under the understanding that his entire collection of antique cars is intact. So he hasn't really. There hasn't been any liquidation of his property yet. Apparently, the IRS is going nowhere. While the house has been officially foreclosed, there seems to be some confusion about whether or not he's going to be able to keep it. Apparently, someone has been paying the bills and the local property tax. So, maybe at least on the local side, Phil is going to be able to keep his house. Or Field, yeah. Is going to be able to keep his house. Now, the big bull in the China shop is going to be the Internal Revenue Service and what they decide to do. Dirty windshield. I thought I cleaned that windshield when I had, and that was a rental. But I got smudge on the windshield. But, yes, Field still has his antique cars, at least for the time being. So, we'll see where that goes. Ugh, scratchy nose. Well, there has not been a cause of death in regards to Janice. It is said that she had COVID, and there's the other theory that she was an extremely heavy smoker, and so that probably contributed to her the promise with her health. As to where Denise passed away, reliable reliable sources is having her have died over in the United Kingdom, in an area where she originally came from, which I believe would have been Ireland. Now, I believe someone said something about Dr. Good Vibes having been there and holding her hands and all this, and this apparently was a flat-out lie, because sources are saying, even those in law enforcement, is that she passed away overseas. That would make sense, because I think there was a problem with her visa, and she would not be able to get into the United States. So, as always with this group, somebody's always making things up. But it has been confirmed that she is deceased, so there's no hoax there. Again, I pass along my condolences to the family and to Field for the loss of his wife. I know from personal experience what that's like. So, now we just kind of sit back and wait and see where all these trials are going. I have not heard anything about Neely Blanchard and her situation up in Ocala. So, well, the reason the judge let Field go back to Wisconsin was mainly due to Kim of all people. She felt sympathy for Field, and she said in the Zoom hearing that as long as certain strict conditions are met, that she would agree to allow him to go to Plum City to handle his whatever he would have to handle with the family overseas. Field is her husband. He is uh, highest on the scale as the next to Kim uh, outside the biological family. So uh, Kim was nice enough to say, yeah, let him go back to Plum City. He can hang out up there until the trial. And so she showed compassion in that regard. So he, I don't know if he's left yet for Plum City or not. Again, there's a hearing the 28th. If he does go back to Wisconsin, that will be handled uh, through remote conferencing, I suppose, or he may not even need to be physically there because it's basically just a routine motion. So we'll uh, have to go back there. And to answer Laurie's question, it's basically so he can handle whatever personal affairs there are between them. I mean, they are a married couple. There's things over, she does have some property over in the United States, likely, and there's other legal matters. So, that's the best I can figure as to why he has to go back up there. Personally, I would think he'd be better off with his family here, but, I guess he wants to handle the affairs up there and also be at his house. Uh, I personally don't agree with the decision, but you have to remember that it's Kim. Yeah, more corn. Look at all the corn. Corn, 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 corn. But, this ultimately was Kim's decision. As the victim in this case, she has a lot of say. And if she says that he can go back to Plum City, then, they took that into consideration and allowed him back to Plum City. And so, I think those that are in support of Field McConnell should take that into consideration because she could have easily said, no, he's staying right here, and the state would have left him there. But she basically agreed to it. So, well, compassion does that to a person, Jiggly. Uh, I don't agree with her decision. If it were up to me, he'd be in Florida still. But it's not my call. It's her call. And, if she wants to take the responsibility of allowing him to go back to Wisconsin, that's up to her. I can't fault her for it because she's the one that's been the receiving end of all this. Uh, and if Field McConnell gets away with something because she allowed it, then it's on her. Well, you know, you can criticize her, but in the end, it's her decision. Well, I have no compassion for Field either, Jiggly, and it has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with the fact that the man showed a complete lack of respect for the law. Uh, Now, Laurie, to address your last comment, Field McConnell is not allowed to have contact with Kirk Pendergrass or any of those people. It's the same restrictions he had in Florida. And if he violates and the court finds out, he will go directly to the county jail. He will not go back to his son. So he has a big incentive to pay attention to the uh, conditions of his house arrest and not be in contact with any of these people, or he's going to be in worse shape than he is now. So, and I think Field needs to have the book thrown at him. Now, Kim's case is not Field's only problem. He is tied to the Cynthia Abzug matter. Uh, and I understand through discovery up there that there's going to be a lot of evidence brought in there, and it has Field all over it. So he's not out of the woods by a long shot. Uh, and neither is anybody else in that circle of grifters. They can be charged with aiding and abetting an attempted kidnapping and, providing her with a firearm if it's proven that that's one of Field's firearms that she had in her possession. And the same goes to the Neely Blanchard case. There's an involvement there with all these people, and there's the still unanswered question as to where that gun came from. Now, there's a possibility that because her husband was in the military, that he had a weapon that she somehow got a hold of, or somebody in her sphere of influence gave her the gun, or she got the gun somehow from Field McConnell. This is something that they're going to have to work out. And Jiggly, there's a lot of people that would like to slap the dog out of Field McConnell. He really enabled Tim to the extreme, and I have never appreciated that. Tim needs to go to jail. Now, there is the question that has come up, is Timothy still alive? And that is something I don't know, and it's one of the reasons why I've basically said that there's no point talking about him anymore, because he may not even be around. He could very well be fish food, fertilizer in one of these many cornfields that you see, or, who knows where he is, if he's dead or not dead, but he is off the air. We don't hear from Tim. This nonsense that shows up on his blog has got to be being written by someone else, and the videos produced by somebody else, because it's, for the most part, it's old stuff. It's quite possible that Tim may have done that, but again, it's mere speculation and no proof. So we don't know. There was talk that the phone has been disconnected at Randy's house and that she's suddenly out of the picture, but that's hard to say. All the speculation isn't really going to answer anything. It just gives us grist for the mill when it comes to, what is the fate of these people? What is their status? So on and so forth. But as far as providing clickbait and material, there is that. But the analytics that people can look at to see how busy these websites are is showing that there's a dramatic slowdown in viewing people. There are fewer people are interacting with them, so on and so forth. So I think their days are numbered. I don't think they're going to be ever getting back to their old level, and it's going to continue to decrease. And the situation with QAnon isn't helping them out any. No, Laurie, I haven't been following the girlfriend of Chris Hallett or what she's been doing. I did know early on that she was going to continue the so-called legal direction of Chris Hallett, which is no surprise. Nothing about these people surprises me. Good evening, Levi. Welcome to the chat. But that whole thing is weird. I mean, the guy gets killed and she just takes right over on the show. And again, getting back to conspiracy theories, there were people that were tying her into what happened, and even Timmy did suggest that maybe she was responsible in some way for what happened. But from what I've been able to figure out from Marion County is that she is solely responsible for the death of Chris Hallett, and so she's going to be tried on that. Now, are there going to be accessories because of the firearm? That's a possibility as well. You know, the thing of it is, yeah, this woman can take over Chris Hallett's show, but it's not going to amount to anything because the stuff is all hogwash, and all she's going to be able to do is get those that believe in this nonsense to follow her, and it's not that many people. It's just all these people in the sovereign citizen movement. Well, she's quite wrong, Laurie. He was under investigation. That's one of the things that came up in Minnesota. He is under investigation uh, on several fronts, including the Cynthia Absug matter, and he was under investigation for some of the other things that were going on. So, oh, she's filing more paperwork. Huh. Well, she's going to get herself in trouble over that. And, she can file all the paperwork she wants. It doesn't amount to anything. Um, so I don't know. The only thing she's going to do is she's going to get her name on the court dockets as someone that's filing all this stuff. So, if she wants to file paperwork, more power to her. It's not going to amount to a hill of beans, and it can leave her open for liability if the paperwork she files um, turns out to make somebody's life a lot worse. And she could suffer the same fate as Chris if she's not careful. Because one of the reasons they came up with as a motive for Neely Blanchard was that um, Chris was not able to procure custody of her children, and she, in fact, believed that Chris was trying to prevent her from gaining custody of her children, and that's the reason she was shot, or he was shot. Hmm. Well, Laurie, if you could forward that, I'd be curious to see what the hell she's up to. But, you know, again, none of what she's doing is kind of got kind of a sore throat. Sorry about that. None of what she files is going to make any difference. She has no legal standing with the court. Uh, she got brainwashed by Chris Hallett and Kirk Pendergrass, and neither one of them know their ass from the hole in the ground when it comes to how to do things in the court. Well, that's true, Levi. She isn't saying they are all insane. Because that's the problem with the sovereign citizen movement. These people do not have a clue about anything, and they just dig themselves into a legal hole, and then they wonder how they got there. Because it's the same mentality that stormed the Capitol last on the 6th. So what are you going to do? Well, apparently it must be the case because if she's still in that house and the son approves of it, I don't understand why, unless he's been on the same page with Chris all this time. So, but what the hell? Grifting pays well, I guess. This stuff will catch up because now that we have a new administration in office, we're going to go to a different direction whether these people like it or not. And the QAnon movement and these fringe uh, sovereign citizen movements are going to go back in the hole that they came from. And you're not going to hear that yet. They'll be in their own little circle, and that's going to be that. And, you know, people are going to make money off of it because there's people that are stupid enough to believe this stuff and pay for it. I don't know if they are still collecting money, Lori. That's something I suppose we could check uh, to see if they're gaining any money from Patreon or not. It's illegal because she's committing wire fraud, but you turn this stuff into the government and they don't do anything about it. At least not to where they're going to tell anybody. So if there is something going on investigation-wise, I guess we're not going to know about it for a while. And so they're going to continue to suck money out of people. Uh, hmm. But that's what's the root behind all this is money. These people are just, you know, they everywhere you turn, they, send me money, send me money, send me money. Yeah, it's really, really weird. Let's see. I'll see if this is going to work. When you know it worked. Doo-doo. More corn, I swear. That's really funny. I never imagined that there was that amount of corn growing in Minnesota. God, acres and acres and acres of it. At least tonight I'm not getting problems with the video so far. So maybe YouTube's starting to behave itself. I did notice that my numbers are going down uh, on the channel. It dropped down to about 980, 82. And the main reason is I think that I turned people off with my Joe Biden support, um, which, you know, I guess they feel that politics is more important than discussing the grifters. I don't force people in here. Um, I'm not going to be able to get to my goal of 1,000 anytime soon. So probably what I'm going to do is next month, um, I'm going to start live streaming on Facebook. Well, I prefer the live streams too. The problem is number one, finding things to fill in an hour's worth of yakking, or two or three. Um, because with the 5 to 10 minute mobile thons, I can make a daily commentary, and then if I'm able to, I do the live streams during the week. Now, the mobile thon through YouTube would have been converted over to live streams, uh, but um, when I was over 1,000, YouTube never gave me what I needed, and thus, for whatever reason, I started going down under 1,000, and now I'm at a point where I won't be um, able to live stream. Well, if she does, I'm going to kick her right out. She's not welcome in the room. Uh, the minute I see that name come up, it's gone. So she might as well stay out of here. Because it's, I'm really not interested in them anymore. Um, Jiggly, that seems to be the sentiment with a lot of people is he's too far towards the center. The resistance movement in the left wing actually wanted somebody more like Bernie Sanders. And so I think that um, because of that, um, there's going to be a rift in the Democrats, and we're going to see the Democrats fighting each other. But we're also going to see the same thing on the conservative side or the Republican side, because the various fractions on the Republicans are going to go after each other, especially the QAnons that are in the GOP. There's going to be a lot of infighting along them because they're going to try and exert their power and influence, and it's going to create significant problems. Well, Levi, some people did like my interaction with the troll. The problem is a lot more didn't. Uh, I had a big fall off in numbers, and it was written to me that the reason people were leaving is because I was giving her time on the air, and they didn't like it. Um, so, for that reason, I decided that I would attempt to kind of draw back a little bit on discussing these people because, quite honestly, they're not important anymore. Um, you know, Timmy bragged that he was third in line to the President of the United States, and that's no longer the case. He's now third in line to a president, a former defeated president that's going on trial in a couple of weeks um, to be impeached. And also an ex-president that's going to be having to go to criminal and civil court for the rest of his life. He's got at least 61 cases he's going to have to deal with. And, banks keep closing. There's, 4 Florida banks alone have told him to go find someplace else to deal with because they're not going to do business with him anymore. Um, so that's going to create a problem for Mar-a-Lago because that means that the bank that they're doing business with is going to have to be dealt with because they're going to have a cash flow problem. Yeah, that's correct, Timothy. Laura is under investigation, as are a number of Congress people, because of the January 6th insurrection. And I think you're going to find some expulsions happen here in the coming weeks as more information comes out. Mary Trump is saying that Donald will be exposed as a serial rapist in court. Um, that came out of Midas Touch just now. So, yeah, the problem with Donald Trump is he's got cases of alleged rape, a couple of other things. He's got a lot to worry about. And I had not heard about these missing uh, adopted boys in California. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is apparently happening in Bakersfield. The boys have been missing for 2 weeks. Get that thing out of my way. Uh, 3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Orin missing from California City, which is surrounded by desert. Law enforcement is trying to find out where they were last scene, and apparently they've had no leads. And they're also searching over in Bakersfield. The parents apparently just recently moved uh, to California City. And so basically, they have not been seen in 2 weeks. So that's going to be on people's minds to see how that one turns out. If you decide to delve into it, Levi, it's out of uh, KGET as the story. I'm going to put it in here so people can read it. Um, and there is a video clip. But anybody that wants to follow the story, here's the link to it. Well, that's bad when they had. God, that's a big tumbleweed. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. I gotta take care of something. Be right back. Yeah, I figured that would be a good one for you to cover, Levi, because you have the resources to do that. Um, right now, I don't have the resources, although I would concentrate on cases here in Florida, uh, unless something like this gets real um, prominent in the news. So we'll see how that one goes. Well, I guess the CDC is reporting some rare allergic reactions to the COVID vaccine. Um, Statistically, I think it's 6.2 cases per million doses. So that's kind of expected that there's going to be some people that are going to have allergic reactions. 4 adopted children and no jobs. That's Not a good thing. Yeah, I don't know why people would adopt children if they don't have the financial means to do so. That just creates additional problems. Yeah, that's interesting trivia. California police chief, former actor on Breaking Bad. I don't know as if I ever watched that show. So yeah. Lemonade's not bad. Okay, back to the grind. Okay, speaking of missing children, let me bring this up. The FBI finds 33 missing children in anti-trafficking operations. 33 children were recovered in an anti-trafficking operation in Los Angeles dubbed Lost Angels. That the FBI field office announced yesterday. Uh, on behalf of more than 2 dozen partner agencies, Assistant Director in Charge Christy K. Johnson of the FBI's Los Angeles Field Office announced the results of Operation Lost Angels initiative, which began on January 11th and recently accumulated in the recovery of 33 children. During January Human Trafficking Awareness Month, the FBI worked with the Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and more than 2 dozen law enforcement agents and non-governmental partners to identify, locate, and recover missing children, particularly those who have been or were suspected of being sexually exploited and or trafficked. Now it's curious that this would coincide with these 2 missing children out of California. What do I think about Casey Anthony being a private detective? Well, I certainly hope she studied what it takes to be a private detective in this country. It's not that simple. In most cases, you go through a kind of an apprenticeship. You have to be sponsored by a detective agency uh, for a period of time. It's quite stringent, and then you have to have the money to get the certification to open up your own agency. So I think this is going to be another one of these things that Casey Anthony's going to try, and she's going to fall flat on her face. She was going to be a professional photographer, and that went nowhere. So I don't know what she's going to do on that. What I just read is from the FBI. It's a bulletin they put out. Um, this is the California. This is the Los Angeles field office who put this out in regards to the missing children. I'll put this up here so people can read it at their leisure. But as far as Katie Anthony, I don't see that going anywhere. Would this video shut off? Huh. Yeah, well, I guess I'll do a bit. Bakersfield Motel. Okay, because what I got right now, this is the FBI bulletin on it. That's the link that I put up there. Um, Now, Cindy Anthony claims that I'm part of a hate group. She doesn't like me. She doesn't like Nancy Grace. Doesn't like a lot of people because they, you know, what can I say? Now, what generally Q does is they'll take stuff like this bulletin from the FBI and they'll twist it to say, oh, look at what we did. And it has nothing to do with them. I mean, this is something that Tim has done for years. Yeah, if you go over and look at his page, he takes credit for stuff like this. Um, and, this um, Operation Lost Angels is something that the FBI came up with. And it's not 35,000 kids in a tunnel. This is something that came from a law enforcement source. Now, this is another FBI bulletin, and this gives specific information on human trafficking statistics but these are the sources I look at. I don't look at QAnon pages. I go to government sources, reliable sources, which if everybody did, they would see that a lot of stuff that the QAnons put out, they're taking false credit for, and a lot of times they exaggerate or completely misrepresent what it is that happened. And so this is, people just have to be aware of what's out there and, verify the facts. You're going to be that way. Hmm. Oh, that ought to make her happy. Because they are the Anthonys are real sensitive about what people say and write about Casey, and that's I tried to give during my coverage of her during the way the searches and the trials and everything. I tried to be fair, but um, the problem was that I had virtually everybody on my live stream back then hated Casey, and that's basically put me into a corner. Oh yeah, the mere mention of my name will send her into a spastic fit. She truly hates me, and I understand that. Uh, she has to understand I'm not the reason she got the bad publicity she did. If I had not been around, somebody else would have done it. So she can hate me all she wants, but in the end, uh, it's not me. It's not anybody else. It's Casey, for whatever reason and however, brought this upon herself. And, it is what it is. Actually, no, I didn't. Um, when I was doing the uh, live streams, the only time that there was anything that happened is they just happened to leave the little site they had set up for they had a stand set up or they were giving out the T-shirts and stuff, and I had gone there to try and see if I could get an interview, which was a mistake on my part. And they happened to leave, and I happened to leave, and that was the end of it. There's no point in following them around because they either went to their house or they went to various search sites. Now, what happened was when I was doing the Blanchard coverage, they showed up because they got into a big argument with Lenny Padilla because he organized that search, and they weren't happy about it. And I was there, so I didn't follow them. If anything, they followed me. But in the end, no, she wouldn't speak to me. I didn't say a word to her. And actually, there's an interesting story. When I was at the courthouse, I went to one of the hearings. Now, I could not broadcast uh, from the court. They have a restriction to that, but I sat in. And as it would happen, um, I was outside the courtroom, and they came out and got on the elevator that I was on. So here's me, George, Cindy, and a couple other people on this elevator going down to the ground floor in the court. But we didn't say a word to each other. And, you know, she knew I was there and ignored me, but I thought that was kind of funny that we all got stuck on the same elevator. And there was never anything said between us. Zip zero nada. She completely ignored me, which, you know. But uh, as far as following around, I suppose she did, Jiggly. I mean, if she hated me that intensely, she had to know what I looked like. Um, but she didn't. She didn't look at me. She didn't give me scorn. She was too busy. She was talking to somebody. But it was her, George, me, one of the reporters, I think from Channel 9, was there with a cameraman, and we were all stuffed in this elevator. And basically, nobody said a word to anybody. We just took the elevator down. Uh, we all got out, and everybody went in their separate directions, and that was the end of it. Uh, I would have said, why did you say the things that you said about me? I said, you lied about me, and so on and so forth. But I did not intend to meet him. I would, if I had spotted him, immediately called law enforcement and say, hey, he's here, come get him. And that would have been it. I wouldn't have confronted him. If it just happened that he noticed me and we got into a conversation, I would just confront him with what he said about me and go from there. Uh, just, that thing, it just never turned out that way. It just turned out to be the original intent of the trip was basically give people a background as to who he was, where he lived, and various points of interest in the state of Minnesota, as well as Wisconsin and Fields Studio. I was there specifically to talk to the FBI in Minneapolis, and I just, took the opportunity to make the documentary. I don't. Uh, Now I had gone over to the Kaylee Memorial a little while back just to see how things are going over there, and the memorial is completely gone. There's no trace of it. Um, the huge pink cross is gone. Everything is gone, and the land has reverted back to the state it was in when Kaylee was discovered by the meter reader. So it's pretty well like what I said was going to happen. Is she's just Tinkerbell is the unregistered. Um, Now let me think. I got to make sure I get the names right because one is um, the former moderator of YouTube or USleuths, Web Sleuths, excuse me, or somebody sleuths, and the other one is the one that used to be my moderator on my channel. And if I have the username correctly, Tinkerbell um, was an unregistered sex offender of all things, um, who was the moderator of the Casey Anthony case over on Web Sleuths. And someone found out that she was an unregistered sex offender, that she had confessed to 4 counts of lewd acts on a child, and um, Pixie Dust, I don't know, that might have been one of the names or not. Uh, but she confessed to 4 counts of lewd acts on a child, um, testified against her then husband because he actually committed some of these crimes. He photographed her uh, naked on a kitchen table and had one of the children. Um, I don't know who Jiggly is. Um, they, you know, my memory sucks. I don't remember anybody with that specific name. Um, but she did, but that created a lot of problems on my chat because her sister got on my chat and claimed that the children who were witnesses against her ex-husband lied under pressure from the grandfather. Jiggly, I have a bad memory, and I just don't recall the username. You probably, yeah, so, sorry if I can't remember your name. There's a lot of names I don't remember. Um, I'm 70 years old, so I guess I'm starting to go or something. I don't know. But, um, but anyway, all my moderators, which was strained, defended the My moderator's name was Judy Scholes, by the way. Um, and it was her sister that was the um, unregistered sex offender. But they came in, said that the children lied, and I objected to it. I got attacked for it from the haters I had back then. And eventually I got fed up and closed the channel down. But yeah, because I can't even remember the name of Tinkerbell. Tracy something or other. But the problem is people thought I was supporting the woman mocking these children, and it was just quite the opposite. I got angry that they were in there defending us, you know, defending this woman at the um, cost of the children's reputation. Calling these young children liars. And even my administrator, who was a grandmother, uh, she even defended the fact that she defended the serial pedophile, which I found kind of NKBD. Yeah, it's just that whole thing back then is just weird. Nana NC was her username. That's because she was Nana out of North Carolina. South Asheville, I believe. But she was a huge disappointment. I don't know why she would do something like that. She knew it was going to damage the channel. She turned completely against me. And, I got fed up and I just shut the channel down because I said, all this nonsense isn't worth it. And, that's the same stuff that really, well, the only thing I wonder is why did she do what she did? She even called my brother. Um, I know she's down in Lakeland. She was a huge disappointment because she basically, for whatever reason, turned on me. And she was highly responsible for the channel going down because it gave radio news ammunition. It gave other people ammunition to use against me. And, people got turned off because I was constantly defending myself on the channel. And they didn't like the arguing going on between me and my moderators. They wanted to be there for the cases. And so because of that, I just, out of frustration, I closed it down because I was doing a disservice to my audience. I bear her no ill will, so to speak, and I wish her well, but I just wish that she hadn't done what she did and that she would somehow apologize for what happened. Well, she's welcome here, but, I just wish she would explain why she did what she did. Why did she defend Tinkerbell and go along with the children lied? I never understood that because even Lisa went along with it. And, it destroyed the show because when you got two administrators and a moderator, or two moderators and an administrator turn their backs on you, I couldn't keep the show going. I was extremely disappointed with everybody. I mean, the intent of the channel was to try and stop abuses on children, not excuse it. And so I don't know. To this day, I can't figure it out. But somebody told me she was down in Lakeland. I I guess she retired and moved down there. So I hope she's doing well. Oh, boy. See what we have here. But, that's, I guess what you learn when doing these things is there is a cost uh, that you incur, whether you intended to have it happen or not. And that's what happened to me. And for whatever reason, either any mistakes I may have made starting out or what have you, I paid a price for it. And Sheila, not anymore. I think I've lost contact with a lot of people from those days. So as far as I recall, I have not talked to her. Um, and there's a lot of people I haven't talked to. We've all, since the Anthony case, we all basically went our own separate ways. And when I closed down doing public live streams, you know, the Pal Talk people stayed on Pal Talk, and everybody went on to the various changes of interest that they had, and so on and so forth. So if I, again, my memory's not what it should be. So if I have talked to her, I'm not recalling it offhand. Okay, here we go. No, I am not a human trafficker. Uh, I kind of figured you trolls would show up sooner or later. Uh, no, if you had paid attention, you would understand that I lost my only child, uh, and so I know what it's like to lose a child, and I don't want to see any abuses of children, period. So you making that, uh, okay, you're gone. Uh, you know, go send your money to Timmy. I don't know why you people even come in here. You're a disgusting human being. So there you go. I don't get people. I've only got 12 people in here, so I don't know why they feel they got to come in here and ruin my channel. But this is, this B5 Bill or whatever the hell the troll is calling himself. This is the kind of people that are out there. They do nothing but hate and destroy. Uh, and they don't even go to the other channels. So, what are you gonna do? This is also another reason I don't like live streaming is these people come. Well, yeah, well, up until this point, this has been a pretty good show. But this B5 whatever is why I shut the original channel down because these people came in and rather than genuinely be interested in the subject, they decided to play their little games, and it just isn't worth it. Oh, I don't know who it is, Levi, but it's somebody that apparently doesn't have anything else better to do. Um, and so, you just, like I said, these people are not going to be in here. And the minute I see their stuff come up, I take it down. Simple as that. And, but, this is, as much as I like live streaming, this begins to, oh, who the heck are you? This is the first time I've seen your name on there. Cool look. Don't involve you in what? Do, 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 do. But, you know. But basically, what I think what I'm going to be doing is I am going to keep the live streams at once a week um, for the foreseeable future, mainly because of my schedule. I'm busy throughout the week. I will do my mobile thons. Going to try and keep them relatively short, keep them about 10, 15 minutes at the outside, because anything longer than that, it's excessive, and there really isn't that much to talk about. So I'll probably between 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 at the outside, because I don't want to drone on too much. I do not know, Levi, if Field is back home yet. I have seen nothing on the county records about transfers. I have not heard anything from my sources about what his specific status is right now. Uh, that's, eventually I guess we'll hear about it one way or another as to when he's going to be in Plum City. I would think that he would be there by now, because the whole point of getting the venue changed is so he could deal with his personal affairs. So the sooner he could get back to Wisconsin, the better for him. So I would just have to guess in saying he's back there, but we'll find out in short order, because I'm sure somebody's gonna let us know. Either from the hater side or from other sources. The stuff eventually is going to come out. Well, Levi, that's possible. You never know. It would be not smart, because if they find out that there's any kind of fraud with him getting back to Minnesota, he's going to wind up right back in jail. So he had best be telling the truth, because that would not be a good thing to be lying to the court. But again, it's Kim that made the decision, and she apparently had enough information to be satisfied that he was telling the truth, or whoever provided the information to the court was telling the truth. So, well, all we can do is wait and see. Truth has a way of coming out. So if he did lie to the court, eventually it's going to come out. I do not support any parties in this mess. Well, that's fine, Astro. We weren't even talking about you. So, duly noted. All right, we're coming up on 11:30. I think I'm going to close this out at 11:30, because we're reaching a dead end here. But I'm going to, as things break during the week, I'll try to keep people informed through the mobile homes. Astro, there has been no discussion on here about you at all. I don't know where you're getting your information from, but um, we have not been talking about you. So, if you're getting information to that, then you're being misinformed. Uh, all you need to do is go through the old webcasts that I put up here, and you will see whether or not you've been on here. I do not edit these chats except for to get rid of trolls that come in on occasion. So, you know, I don't know where you're getting your information from. Um, you came in here on your own accord. So, if you're not supporting any of the parties, that's good. You need to go and find something else better to do with your list. I will track down Blizzard Witch myself if anyone else is killed or if there is any violence. Fair enough. I don't know. Nothing has been proven yet, but if there is any, because it's like I said, even though there is speculation that Tim has deceased, we don't know that for sure. I don't know why she came in here sharp. It's just that out of the blue she shows up. And, so she just, when she does this sort of thing, she just brings it on herself. Nobody, I had not intended to get this deep into the subject anyway, but what happened, happened. Well, go ahead and monitor. I'll be back on the air next week between 9 and 10 o'clock, so monitor away. And with that, folks, I'm going to close it out. I wish you all well. Have a good weekend, what's left of it. I'll see you during the week. I'll probably do a mobile-thon tomorrow. Not sure what the subject is going to be yet, but I'll find something. If I had had more time today, there were things I was going to talk about, but I had something come up. I was busy for the better part of the day, and so by the time I got back here and took my nap, I just didn't have time to produce anything. So we'll see what happens the next time I'm around. And with that, this is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1. Have a good one.